we're going to do right now is talk about our instrument reprocessing and packaging. So with our instruments, there are many different options that we have out there as far as size and types of packaging. So you have, a lot of people know these little peel and stick self-sealing packages. These are fantastic, but also we have this woven material that we can wrap and tape the outside of the packages and cassettes and things that we use in dentistry. And I have always historically used the woven for my cassettes, and then these little guys for like smaller instruments or single packaged instruments. But now that they come in such large sizes, you can actually get your cassettes and even large cassettes like surgical cassettes in these big ones. I mean, this isn't even the biggest one. Look at this beast. I mean, it's literally the size of like my torso. It's huge. So you can find things that will fit if you prefer this, because these are really easy, and they also have the indicators that we want to make sure that they are going through the, for sterility assurance. But the thing is when you're choosing your sizes, you want to make sure that your products fit in there, and then when you can seal them just by folding this edge. We don't want to overlap. Like, so if this is so big and you're only filling half of it, you don't want to do this, because plastic on plastic, we're not allowing that steam to filter through, and actually that goes against the instructions for use. So we always want to follow our instructions for use. But we also want to make sure that we're not shoving it in there and we're pulling apart these edges, because that's going to compromise the packaging. And so those are just little things that you want to think about. So again, if I'm just putting one little tiny piece in here and I'm folding this over, that's not the right way to package our instruments. So we want to just fold at the perforated edge. The thing that I no longer do is take these packages out and just have them set. I used to have like a really cool little organization where we could just grab them. I'm not doing that anymore, because there's some information on this box that I still want. Now, there's a lot number on here, but if you get rid of the packaging, it's not on the single individual ones, it's on the box. The thing too about the box, it's going to give you storage shelf life instructions. So this particular one says do not use if the pouch is damaged, which we'll talk about event related and time related packaging. But this also says instruments enclosed in the pouch maintain their sterility for 1 year as long as the pouch remains sealed, undamaged, and it's stored between the temperatures of 59 degrees and 95 degrees with a low humidity of 70. These are really great. I love these self-seal packaging. Again, this is from Henry Schein, different sizes. We're just going to go through our instruments, see which ones we use more frequently. You're going to probably have some outliers where you have the big ones and the super tiny ones. You might not go through those as much, but you have them. You also have the ability to choose the woven fabric to package your instruments. The thing is though, you need to have different indicators with this. So you're going to have one which is going to, typically your tape, everybody uses the tape on the outside. This will turn black when it has reached a certain temperature. You want to make sure you know your instructions for use and that it works for your particular unit or your autoclave. And this is a type 1, and there's 6 types of indicators. We use 5 of them in dentistry. The type 6 isn't really used frequently from my understanding. And then we have these ones that go on the inside of the cassette to make sure that it not only got the outside sterile, but it's also penetrating and actually sterilizing our instruments. And there's different types out there. This particular one is from Henry Schein. And then I have these from Hufredi. These are going to be your type 5 indicators. And again, I'll go through these. What I like about these is from the Henry Schein is that you can put the date and the operator. It gives you a space for that. So when I'm packaging my instruments, I'm going to put today's date, I'm going to put my initials, it's going to go inside of the cassette, I'm going to put it into the woven packaging, and then we'll put our chemical indicator tape on the outside of it. We got to remember though that this tape is very easily turned, so I don't want to keep it near the autoclave or anything that's going to get hot. And if I just throw my instruments in there, they don't have to sit for very long. Like say that, you know, the unit is still warm from a previous cycle, these can still turn dark, and we want to be very mindful of that, because if I just loaded that, it was warm from a previous run cycle, and then the unknowing clinician comes up behind and look in there and like, oh, it turned black because it was hot, and I start pulling those instruments out, that is a problem because they weren't sterilized, but this indicator turned. So that's why these are also really nice, because they have to reach a much higher temperature to actually turn. So just little tidbits to know. So just to follow up with some of the things I talked about today, when you're going through your instrument reprocessing and choosing your packaging, just know that there's many different sizes of these self-sealing sterilization packages. These are particularly from Henry Schein that I have, and it will tell me on the outside if it's going to turn via steam or if I'm using ethylene oxide or like a chemical chemclave. These are not right for dry heat. Do not use these in dry heat. But they come in different sizes. Choose the size that's going to work for you. Also know with your woven, these come in many different sizes as well. We're going to put an indicator on the inside of that to make sure that the steam penetrated that packaging and it is sterile on the inside. And we're going to use a chemical indicator on the outside as well. So as a team, you'll decide what packaging works for you. Remember to keep them in the box so you have the lot number, and there is a shelf life expiration date on that. So I hope those tips help you, and be sure to go read all your instructions for use, decide as a team, and know what kind of chemical indicators you're using on the inside and the outside of your packaging.